is Prometheus, and I want to give you a defensive tip that I think can really benefit players right now that are looking for more of advanced skill. Basically what this is setting up what I would refer to as a hybrid defense or defensive confusion. Now any Madden player that's actually studied the game will probably understand how to break down certain types of defenses, whether it's a cover 2 zone or cover 2 man, a cover 3 or cover 4. They know the weaknesses of the defense by playing against those defenses, and they know how to make initial reads. Well, to take your defense to the next level, what you need to do is give your opponent a different look than what they're normally seeing, and give them different zones and defensive areas that they'll see in their play art. So what I want to kind of show you is a strategy that I would use to try to go ahead and confuse my opponent by using one base play. The Madden Elite actually go ahead and use one base play, and they actually adjust out of those particular plays. They don't necessarily use a ton of different types of plays. So since I switched over this year into one base formation, I've caused a lot of confusion against my opponent, primarily because they don't know how to make reads, and I'll be able to do this. Now, one of my subscribers, Angel Peretta, I apologize if I mispronounced your name, he basically put a request in. He's like, what's the best way to stop crossing routes, mesh routes, crossing routes? I had some difficulty stopping opponents. Well, I'll provide some strategies on how to stop crossing routes in this breakdown, but I do want to let you know that if there's no one defense fits all solutions. Every defense is designed to try to be a strength against certain routes, and if you're trying to defend against crossing routes, you are going to have weaknesses in other areas. So I'll show you a tip on how to stop this particular play, crossing routes, and get defenders in an area to make plays against the crossing routes, but you're going to have to sacrifice other areas that your opponent could eventually beat you with. So if you are playing against an elite Madden player, a good Madden player, they could essentially be setting you up to actually go ahead and hit you with a big play. So yeah, you know, anybody that comments, oh, well, I'd hit you up top if you were to go ahead and make your adjustment on your defense. Well, I know any good player is going to do that. So that's one of the things that you want to take in consideration, is that you want to go ahead and make adjustments that you catch your opponent off kilter, catch them off guard, and basically go ahead and have your defense dictate how they run their offense. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Is crossing routes. This is a basic man coverage, and as you can see, both the crossing routes in this particular player are getting open against man coverage. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and change up this defense a little bit to basically hold my opponent down. Right, so if you're playing MUT, you really don't have a lot of options on doing a custom playbook. But if I was going to go ahead and try to shut down my opponent, I would want to probably go ahead and use some kind of an adjustable defense that I can use to go ahead and attack my opponent and have a good blitz where I can adjust out of it. Now, any kind of a play that actually has blitzing linebackers or blitzing safeties, that means those guys are coming in, and there's going to be a lot of coverage trying to cover the areas that they're blitzing from. So what I like to do is actually go ahead and utilize those blitzers as coverage. So what I want to do is show you the sting pinch zone. I've actually broke this down. One of my subscribers, Glow, basically showed this blitz to me, and I did a breakdown of it. And you can go ahead and click on the link right here to go ahead and see the blitz. But a sting pinch zone is very easy to set up. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to base a line, spread your defensive line. You're going to QB contain, and go ahead and take your yellow linebacker and put him in the basically in the A gap right over the left center or left guard, and hold the left trigger button to try to get the lineman to try to take on a block. What that's going to do is going to spring guys off the edge and up the middle for an easy sack. So this has got really fast heat. Let's see how this takes. 3 steps to set this blitz up, and you're smacking the quarterback. Most quarterbacks are not going to make reads. And right there, I got a sack off the edge. Once again, another sack off the edge. So as you can see, this is a really good, easy defensive setup to get pressure against your opponent. It's fairly easy to set up. You got that edge pressure. You're going to basically get pressure against your opponent with it. So this is a good play, a good base play to use for your confusion, because your opponent is going to essentially be seeing a blitz and he's going to try to defend against it. So things you can do to change things up is just do a simple zone all linebackers, and it's going to essentially put all your defenders up. So basically all you're going to do is you're going to hit your right bumper and then flip up on your right stick, and so you get all those linebackers going up into coverage. That's going to take away all those inside reads that your opponent might be going to. Really quick, easy adjustment, and he's just throwing right into coverage, able to do that. Now the next adjustment that you can do is actually go ahead and put your outside linebackers into flat zones. Once again, the CPU decides to go ahead and take the shot up top. And I've got my guys in flat zones, essentially taking away those underneath looks. So you can see right here, I've got JJ Watt on this side. He's going out to a flat, taking away the underneath and the crossing route. I've also got Clowney going over here, taking away the running back read. So it's really going to confuse your opponent by actually doing that. And when they go back to the play out, they're going to see that play art of that stink blitz, and it's just not going to give them, it's not going to be something they expected to see. Now another thing that you could do with your defense is actually going ahead and manning up one of your defenders. And you can see right here, look at what happens with that crossing route. Now if your opponent is looking for the crossing route, he's looking for this wide receiver, look at Watt. Watt is following Hicks across the formation the entire time. He's got coverage on him the entire time, and actually have safeties actually taking away reads. So you could, that is going to be something that's really going to mess up your opponent. So let's see if I can go ahead and get both sides. And right there, I've got defenders in the area. He has to go ahead and check down against me. And he's got the crossing routes. I've got guys trailing right there. And he's actually forced to go ahead and check down to his running back. But a lot of players that are used to hitting up top, they're not going to do that. Another thing you can do is actually go ahead and do a cross man. And this is really going to throw off your opponent's reads, because a guy is just going to come out of the blue. So what you would do is you would take your defender on the other side of the formation and put him on that man over the middle. So let's watch how this develops. So right here you got Clowney, and I've got him manned up on Hicks, and you can see he just falls right into coverage, falls right back into the zone where he's looking for his read. And I've got Watt actually going ahead and trying to cover the other wide receiver too, and he's just falling right into his reads too. So I've got just these weird fallbacks by the defenders. Another adjustment that you can do is you can go ahead and man up your safeties on these guys. And you still got the pressure, but now they're actually coming down and they're actually going to be taking away those crossing wide receivers. And another adjustment you could do is actually go ahead and man up your defensive ends against your opponent, and it's really going to go ahead and give him a delayed read on who you can do. Now, granted, you're probably going to run into a situation where you're not going to have that great of a pass rush, but this really is going to cause a lot of problems for your opponent to read as far as the coverages. He's just not going to be able to see those correctly. So, something you could do with crossing routes is go ahead and take your defensive players and put them in deep blues, and they fall back into zones that you're just probably not going to use to seeing. You you see those defenders are just falling back, deep blues. They're not going to make a huge play down the field, but they're going to be just going to be confusing your opponent as far as where he needs to go ahead and attack the field. You do the same thing with yellow zones too, but they're not going to get the depth that you need. So if you're gonna take your defender, your defensive lineman, and you're trying to stop defenses deep, probably best to actually go ahead and do deep blues, just to kind of throw your opponent off a little bit. So, you know, every time you keep coming back to this play, basically your opponent is going to see this blitz, but he's going to be seeing different coverages going up top. So this is a good way to mess with your opponent's head, play mind games with him, because he's not necessarily going to know if you're going to come into coverage. You know, the quickest adjustment you could do is you could just flip up on your right stick. You actually hit right bumper, flip up, and just go ahead and go with this type of a coverage, just to go ahead and see what kind of reads he makes, and just go from there, or go ahead and make manual adjustments. But you're going to have to be fairly quick at that to be effective at it. So, you know, I hope this actually kind of shows you maybe some concepts you never thought about before, how to actually go ahead and take your defense to the next level. Because when you have a very effective defense and you start playing mind games against your opponent, it's going to frustrate them, and then they're going to start making desperate plays on offense. You know, it's great to see when your opponent actually gets out of their game plan, stops running the ball, starts chucking the ball up deep. That means essentially they're in crisis mode, and they're probably going to go ahead and give up against you. So if you do like these tips, if you picked up some concepts that are new to you and original, go ahead and hit that like button. Please comment on other things that you do. If you have ways that you actually go ahead and confuse your defense or make kind of unique adjustments, go ahead and share that with the community, with the rest of the subscribers on this channel. We really appreciate any kind of support or tips that you provide. Once again, I really appreciate all my subscribers and all my supporters, and I hope this tip helps, and until next time.